back to the soundtrack to my journey. Today, oh, I am so excited. We welcome a voice that many of you have already known and loved, Mike Shannon, the radio personality on SiriusXM's Heart and Soul. But this story starts long before satellite radio. Back in Boston, where his love for music led him to AM WILD and eventually to some of the biggest platforms, in the industry. So today, if you guys are ready, I want to share his interview with you. Mike, are you ready?
I sure am. What's going on,
Oh,
Jen?
hey, hey, hey. So
Now
what
wait,
I'm going to ask for you to do,
yeah.
I want you to tell the listeners, I'm sure most of them know you anyways, but tell them who you are, where you started, where you're from, and where you currently are right now.
Well, you said long ago. You should have said long ago. Now, actually, I'm from Boston and originally from Boston. And well, I always loved music. So music is definitely what led me to radio. My mom told me, of course, I don't remember. I was like maybe two or three. And they would always take me to this donut shop near, we come from Mission Hill Extension, the projects.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a donut shop over that way called, I think it was called So Good. Yeah. By the time I got grown, I don't even remember, but I was little. She said they would always take me over there and when they would put the money in the jukebox, I would start dancing. So I always, and as far
Jukebox.
back as I can remember, I always loved music. But
I love it.
I didn't want to be in music when I was little. When I was in elementary school, I wanted to be a doctor or something.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Very different.
Exactly. But I always loved music. And I remember
Okay.
one day, just nonchalantly, my mom was cleaning up the house and I was playing records. I must have been about, I don't know, 10 or 11 maybe. And she was just, cleaning and saying, you're going to be something with music one day. And at that time, I was like, what are you talking about? But mothers know, don't
They
they?
sure do. They
Mothers
sure
know, because look
do.
where I ended up. And yeah, I mean, I started in college. You mentioned WILD. Well, that was my first, what you say, professional or
Commercial?
commercial radio job. But
Yes, yes.
the
And
radio
that's where I
journey,
met you.
exactly. But the actual radio journey started at Northeastern University at WRBB.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
that's where it all started. Yeah.
Wow. How
And
long were you
even
doing that?
Well, I was at Northeastern. Well, I did the whole 5 years at Northeastern because it's a 5 year program. But I
Okay.
didn't go. I didn't go up to the radio station until my third year. Because at Northeastern I took speech communication, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. You know how it is in college. You don't know what you want to
I,
do.
listen,
You
I
just
changed it a few times myself.
right. So I was in there at one time. I actually was wanted to be an actor, or I used to try to model in things. And I used to get into a lot of fashion shows. And it was my third year at Northeastern, and I just happened to be walking through one of the dormitories, and I saw on the bulletin board that WRBB was having a fashion show. So I said,
Mm.
I said, oh, okay, because I knew some of the people at RBB through class, going to class and stuff. And I'm like, okay, this would be a good look for me to get into the WRBB fashion show. So I did
Okay.
that. I did that, but then I kind of like stuck around because, like I said, I knew some of the people from going to class.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh, it's a fun environment up here. And people have been telling me for years, you got a good voice. You should do something with your voice. I didn't even see it myself, Jen. You know how sometimes people see
No,
things,
yeah. And we
people,
don't see it within ourselves until somebody
right,
else brings it up. You're like,
right.
oh,
I got all these kind of clues. I got these kind of clues because if you want to go back a little further, when I first started Northeastern, I also went to this because I told you I wanted to be a model. I thought I could be a model at one time. So I went to the John. I don't know if you remember this back in the day at John Robert Powers School of Modeling.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. I
yeah.
actually was in that too for a quick second.
Okay. So I went. I went to that and I took the what was that called at the time? Male Modeling Executive Grooming Program.
Okay.
So when the program was over, it was like about a 6 or 9 month program. And when we were graduating, I got this plaque for vocal presentation runner up. And I couldn't understand why I was getting this plaque. I'm like, what the hell am I getting this for? I mean, I'll receive it, but 'cause
What
evidently
is it?
I did this exercise in one of the classes where we had to read something. And
Okay.
I guess evidently I didn't
Did
know it was going
really
to be,
well.
yeah, I didn't know it was going to be an award or anything. So I'm
Can
like, well,
I
that
tell
was,
you, I love your voice. When I heard you call me again, I was like, oh my God, he took me back home. I love your voice, Mike. I
Oh,
do.
thank you. Thank you. So, so that was one sign. And then, people have been telling me, like my freshman year in Northeastern, there was a young lady that was at the radio station at the time. And she said, you got a good voice. We need you to come up to the station and do something. Never did. But then, a couple years later, that fashion show led me to, God leads you to where you're
Hmm.
supposed to be, even though you don't know that's where you're going.
I
You know what I
say it
mean? If
all
that
the
makes
time.
sense. Yeah.
I say it all the time.
Yeah, so that's how I got started in radio. And then once I got to RBB and I started doing sports and newscasts, and then they all said, Mike, do a show, do a show. You need to do a show. And I, at that time, thought the DJs were big-headed, egotistical people full of themselves. I didn't want any parts of it. I didn't want to be labeled that way. So I'm like, nope, I'm going to stick to doing news and sports. Nope, nope. And they're like, nah, man, you need to do a show. So I said, oh, all right. There happened to be an opening, and I auditioned, and I got it, and the bug hit me. And ever since I stayed there for a couple of years at RBB, then I went over to ERS, WERS at Emerson.
That's what
Stayed-
I remember. I didn't
yes,
know you started at Northeastern. I remember Emerson.
right, because that was right before I went to ILD. That's how I got hired at ILD, straight from
Yes.
Emerson. As a matter of fact, I was doing both at one time. I thought I was the man.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So that's how my radio journey started. And then, like I said, I from
The
Emerson, I went to
stories that we never know.
yeah, yeah. And that's when you ladies, Picture Perfect, did the thing. Remember the drops you did up for us? And mine was Mike Shannon. You remember
Oh
that?
my God, yes. You know, it's so funny. Ray just reminded me. He said, you remember you guys used to come up to the station and do all the jingles. I was like,
Yeah.
forgot about that. So it's funny that you're bringing it up the next day. That's
Well,
hilarious.
we were there. I don't know if you remember this. It was late one night. I'm like, oh my God, are we ever going to get out of this studio? It was on Boylston Street. Late one night was
Yes.
me and Elroy from the station. I'm not sure if anybody else. And we were there, and you ladies were recording the jingles. And it was like, all right, that was cool, but take number, try this one, and everybody was so exhausted, but it came out. They came out perfect.
Yes, I remember now that you guys kind of plugged it back in. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, this
yeah,
old brain. But
right.
yes, I remember. Though, I want to say, Mike, and
Mhm.
you could agree with me or not. The time that we came and New Boston Entertainment, all that artistry that was around Boston, I think that was such a special time. And
Oh, no
I
doubt,
wouldn't take any of it back. I loved
no
every
doubt,
moment of the experience that I had.
no doubt. It was a
It
moment in
was
time.
such a beautiful time to be in the music industry.
Yes, it was. And and the nice thing about it back then, we all worked together. And what I mean
We
by that is,
did,
okay, I
like
remember you
extended
guys.
family.
Yes, yes. Because you guys were always at the radio station.
I
So
sure was.
it was like, that was, it was a second nature to see y'all pop up there. You know what I mean? It
Yep,
wasn't like they're here for something special. They just here because they
just
just,
popping up. I know I was all the time.
right, right.
I
And
used to drive y'all crazy.
nah, not me. Maybe some other folks, but I didn't let anybody drive me crazy, if you remember. I used to drive some folks crazy, but
Boy,
but
I tell you, those were some good old
they
days.
were.
What was it? It
It was
was
all.
Ray Leonard,
Yeah,
Candy Eastman,
yeah,
Stephen Hill,
yeah, yeah. Pebbles,
Elroy, yourself, Gooseby, wasn't it Gooseby?
Gooseby, T.
Uh,
Clark,
T. Clark. I
and
mean,
Pebbles.
and Pebbles. How could I
Yeah,
forget Pebbles? How's
yeah.
she doing?
Pebbles is good. Still killing it on the radio in Boston.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta reach out to her. She's gonna be next. She doesn't even
Oh
know
yeah.
it yet.
Oh yeah. She'd love it. Because we
Yeah.
had a thing. I don't know if you did you know about it, or I don't think you came to it a couple of years ago. It'd be a couple of years in the summer. We had a big Boston radio reunion.
Oh
Uh,
no, I think you know what?
yeah.
There's somebody else that Rick Anderson.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Rick, I think I've seen the pictures through Rick.
Okay.
Facebook.
Yeah.
That's how I think I found out about it. Either Rick or Terrence.
Yeah. Yeah.
T. Clark.
Yeah. Yeah. He
So
took
it was
hundreds of
one of those
photos.
two that I was like, Dad, I wish I could have gone. That
Yeah,
would
that
have
was
been such a
nice.
good time.
It was. It was nice. You saw folks we hadn't seen in years.
Do you still
Years.
keep in touch with all of them?
Not all of them, but quite a
Most
bit
of
of
them?
them. Quite a few of them
That's
through
good. I
through
mean,
social media or whatever. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I do remember, I don't know if you remember this many, many years ago. You somewhat was new to New York, but we came down, I think it might have been for one of your birthdays. Me, Kim Hayward. It was a
At
few
my
of us.
apartment.
Yes.
In my apartment. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I put you all to work too. Do you
Sure
remember?
did.
I
But
bought
we
all
still
this.
had a good time.
I bought all this stuff because I'm like, people coming to my apartment. I wanted to look tip-top shape. So I bought new shower curtains and everything. I said, "Yeah, I put you out of work because I was running around picking up people and going to the store." I said, "Okay, I need you to do that. And Jen, would you put my shower curtain up?" And da 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 da. Yep, yeah. We had a blast, didn't we?
We had a ball, but you know what?
Yeah.
You are high energy and you're always fun. So no matter where we are with you, we're gonna have a good time. So I know I had a chance to shoot you over Faja's episode, and you got a chance to watch.
Oh, my girls. Yeah. All
You
you
know
all my
what?
girls. Because I called you guys the Supremes. You and Tammy
Juana,
and Juan.
Juana,
I used to call y'all the picture perfect. I used to call y'all Boston Supremes.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah. And
yes.
Faja, I think I used to call them the Supremes too. I call all the good girl groups the Supremes.
And we had so many groups. Do you remember the group? They were called Heartthrob at one point, and then they changed it to Rika. They were Larry's Puerto Rican group.
That rings a bell. Now, what era? Because I left in 1990. I left
Oh,
in May of
so you know
1990.
what? They may have come a little bit around the end of Faja, not your average girls at the time. So they
Right.
were
Okay.
around that time, but it was a whole bunch of us. Find some
Yeah.
classic example.
Yes.
It,
Yes.
it, it was just so many of us.
Yeah.
It throws me off because I'm like, wow, I got to reach out to everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited about still being connected. Again, I call it extended family because we
Yeah.
worked hard together. We grew
Yes.
up in the industry. And for me, I wanted to pay homage to Boston to make sure this is where I was built. So I
Right.
could never forget Boston. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right. Right. And
So
that
it
whole
was,
thing, not to cut you up, but that whole thing too was almost like Boston's Motown, if you think about it, because
absolutely.
you know how
That's
Motown.
exactly the way I see it. That's
Yeah,
exactly the way
everybody
I
just
see it.
working together and just like one big family. Even though it wasn't one label in Boston, I think
It
everybody
sure
was
wasn't. Everybody was on a label, which was quite
right,
funny. We
but it was
had,
still one unit. Everybody just
oh
was all
yeah, and
together,
we all supported each other, which
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
good thing.
yeah, yeah,
It was a good thing.
yeah,
So I want to jump in and ask you some questions. You know, you kind of answered some by telling me how you started in at Northeastern and Emerson, but when you got that first opportunity with WILD, how
yeah.
did that yes change you? Was it a good thing? Did you learn a lot of things?
Oh my God, was it ever? I mean, and I always, give credit to Elroy because he's the one that hired me. He was the program director at WILD
Yes.
at the time. Elroy, well, he was Elroy in the AM on the
Yes, he
radio.
was.
Yeah, but Elroy R.C. Smith was his official name. And I worked hard. People, well, you guys might know a lot of people who were there with me at the time, on the come up, know how hard it was for me to get into WILD because I was young. I was, by the time I got to WILD, I think I had been doing radio, college radio for about maybe 3.5 years as a DJ, and so, it took me a long time. I started ILD to try to get a job there 2 years before I actually got hired.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would go up there with my air check. That's what we call like our demos in those days, our cassettes.
Okay.
And I would bring, if I was on RBB, I'd bring a show from there. Or when my ERS days, I'd bring it up and Elroy would listen to it and he would critique me and he would
Okay.
tell me what was good and what wasn't good.
Okay.
And I appreciate that because whenever he would send me back away, I would work on whatever he told me to work on. And when I came back, the next time it got better. And then it got better until finally, one day I got a call from Elroy saying, "Mike, give me a call." And there was an opening on a Saturday morning. And
Oh
I
my
went up there
God.
and yeah. And so it was game changing because I had really wanted to work there so bad because it was the
Yes.
normal step. Everybody who left RBB went to ILD, or if you left the Irish, you left Boston College Radio and went to ILD
Mhm.
if you were black.
They
You know
were
what I mean?
the urban radio station for Boston,
The only one, sun
which
up to
was an
sundown.
AM station,
Yeah,
which was quite funny.
yeah, yeah. I mean, at that time we were frustrated because it's like, how come all these other cities have these big 24-hour booming FM
Exactly.
stations and we got this little sun up, sundown, and blah 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 blah.
But you
But
know what?
we wish we had it now.
WILD was the stuff.
Yes, it
And
was.
I couldn't get through my day without listening to each and every one of you guys because you guys helped us learn about the new songs that were coming. I
Right.
can't even remember hearing another radio station, to be honest with you, besides the Emerson station.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, it was
Yeah.
WILD and then the Emerson station. Those were our two frequencies that we listened to the most.
Yeah, because they had the most reach. Now, RBB was the hottest station, but
Yes.
it was Northeastern, and it didn't have quite the reach. Now some folks could hear it different places now, but it
Yep.
didn't have the reach that ERS had, because ERS was, well, they just had that, I don't know, that machine behind them, I guess. You know what
But
I
you know
mean?
what? Now that you say that, it didn't have that much of a reach. I remember when I used to take my car and drive from Boston, New York, I would lose my frequency at a certain point. I'm like,
Right,
I
right.
can't hear the radio
Right,
anymore.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then with
That's
ILD,
hilarious.
so much static and everything. But it was us. It was our
It was
station.
us.
And
Absolutely.
that station did damn well. I know back in the 70s when Sonny Joe White was the program director, at one point it was in the top 10. Now that's saying something for a little sun up, sundown
No,
station,
seriously.
you know?
Seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
and
it
I
was
have to
necessary.
say, you guys were the first ones. Well, obviously, we didn't have many radio stations, but I remember when you guys played our record for the first time. You
Was it
should have
Prove It Boy?
seen
Which one was it? Prove It Boy
Prove It
or
Boy. You said
yeah.
it. Prove It Boy. That was our song. And
Yeah.
literally, when it came on the radio, oh my gosh. I did the same thing when New Edition's Candy Girl first came out. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I jumped all over the place. It was screaming, and I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. I was like, what's happening? It
Yeah.
was, and then we ran up to the station.
I remember.
So
I remember.
grateful for you guys. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, we were
ILP is
happy.
always going to be a place in my heart.
We were happy to do that too. I know it made me feel good. It was a type of station where, like you all would come up. I remember when Poison first came out by Belle Biv DeVoe,
Yes.
and it hadn't really officially been released yet, but there was
Yes.
a buzz in the street. And Michael Bivins, he had like a white SUV at the time. He just
Hmm.
pulled up to 90 Warren Street, because that's where WILD was.
Yep.
Pulled up to 90 Warren Street, came upstairs. I was on the air. He came in the studio. He said, Mike, put it on. Put it on. And I called Stephen, because Stephen Hill was the program director at the time. And I
At the
called his
time.
office.
Yep.
I said, Stephen, Michael Bivins just rolled up in here. He's got that new song. He wants me to put it on. So Stephen said, go ahead and put it on. That's how we were. That's how radio
Exactly.
was back then.
Yeah.
I missed it. Aaron Hall from Guy would just pop in if he was in town just to hang out. You know what I
Yep.
mean? That's how it was. Radio's not like that anymore,
It isn't.
unfortunately.
It isn't. And,
Yeah.
you made a comment about radio personalities having big heads and almost feeling untouchable.
Yeah.
So I
Somewhat.
know a few radio heads out here and DJs out here, and I'm all about relationship building. So
Yeah.
I think from the moment I stepped foot and the people that I did meet, I'm still friends with them to this day, because people don't even realize relationship building is very important, especially in this industry. And it's not that I
It
do it
is.
on purpose. It's just that if we're building a relationship in the music industry, you may need me later on. I may need you later on. And it continues. And it's an extended family relationship at this point.
This is
So,
true.
a
This is
lot of
true.
people need to learn that in the industry.
And that is true, because a lot of people have gotten jobs where, okay, they might be connected to somebody and they might not be the best sounding person on the radio, but they're well connected and everything. And there's somebody who's really, really good. I'm like, well, I don't really know much about them, so I'm going to give the job to this person that's not as good as them, but they're in with us and da da da. So, and I don't really like that, because I still think the person who sounds the best, regardless, should get the job. But that goes to show that it is important to have those relationships, because that's how some people get jobs. You know what I mean? So, yeah,
And yeah, I agree with that. I do
yeah,
agree with that. However, I do feel like, just like you said, you don't necessarily agree with it because the one who has the experience sounds good over the radio and all of that. But will
it's
they
just not
burn
as
bridges
connected.
along the way?
Right, right,
You
right,
know what I'm saying?
right,
So you got to take the person who can be taught how to set
right.
it eventually,
There you
just
go.
like you were by Elroy.
Right, right,
You
right.
take the person who has a good personality, somebody who works well with people, and then you go from there. And you could keep teaching them along the way, especially if they're hungry the way you were.
Oh yeah, I was starving. I was starving. I'm still. I don't want to. I'm not hungry, so to speak, because I've been in the industry now, and
How long
I've
has
been
it been now?
well. Well, professionally, this is my 40th year. I
Oh my
started.
God.
I started WILD in November of 1986. It'd be
Mike,
40
you're
years, November.
lying.
No, I know. I can't believe
No
it either.
way.
Yeah, 40 years.
Oh
40
my
years.
God.
I
Well,
know it's
you
crazy.
started in 86, you said?
1986. And that was just at ILD. Now, altogether in college, I started back in 1982 at
So you
WRBB.
came right before our album was released.
Exactly. As a matter of fact,
Wow.
when you guys did those jingles for us and we were all up in that studio, I had just been promoted to the afternoon show because I started at ILD,
I remember.
doing
I
Saturday
remember
morning.
that. That's so crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the beginning of 1987. February. As a matter of fact, yeah. February of 1987 is when I got promoted, but I started in November of 86. Yeah.
This is interesting. I love these backstories. Oh my
Oh,
God.
I got
Now,
tons of
Mike,
them.
did I even tell you what this episode is called?
I believe you did, but tell me again.
This time I got the mic.
Right, right. And it's so funny being on the other side.
The
But
mics have turned. Listen,
right, right. But I got the gift of gab, so I'm
no,
used to
he
it too.
does, but he's never been interviewed. How does that ever
Well, I
happen?
have, but this is the first time on a podcast, believe it or
Oh,
not.
I love it. So I'm the
Yeah,
first to
yeah.
get you on the camera and the radio. I love it.
Yeah.
Love
Oh,
it
and
now.
camera is something I do not like being on, but everybody's like,
But you
oh,
know
why
what? Your personality and your voice, don't even worry about it. They could be blind and they could see you through your voice. Like you
Lord.
have that energy that'll just make everybody stop anyway.
Well,
So
I
I wouldn't even
appreciate
worry
that,
about
Jen.
that.
I appreciate that. Thank you very
So
much.
I am so excited. I feel like I'm shivering because I'm like,
Oh, stop.
he really said yes. After all these years, I just love it.
Oh, please. Hey,
So
listen, I tell people, only thing that's changed about me is my age. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
I'm still the same, like from back in 1986 or whatever, just older. You know what I
No,
mean?
I agree.
More
I
mature.
agree. But
Say a
did
little more
I
mature.
when did okay, so I'm gonna ask you this because I really don't know. I didn't really do the research, so please forgive me.
Oh,
When
it's
did
okay.
uh satellite radio begin? What year?
What year did it begin for me or did it begin
No, just
altogether?
period.
Well, I'm going to say the year 2000.
Okay.
That
Okay.
seems to ring a bell because I got to SiriusXM in 2000. Well, at that time, it was just Sirius because XM and Sirius were two separate companies up until 2008. We merged
Oh,
in 2008.
oh,
So,
that's new information too. So
yeah,
okay.
XM is based in Washington, D.C., and Sirius here in New York City. So I got
Oh,
hired by Sirius, and that was back in 2004. So they had already been in existence for a few years. But when I asked people, I'm like, well, when did you get a job? Like, when did all this start? And they said, like, the year 2000. So it was the year 2000. So I guess we're celebrating, what, 26 years of satellite. But it really started to take off in the early 2000s. But it really, the year 2000 is when that really started. As far as Sirius. Now, I don't know when XM started, but I think it was all in that same period. Yeah, so it's been a minute for that, too. You know, a minute for that too. Uh,
wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow. So I will tell you this. I hadn't been in touch with you for a minute,
Right.
and one day I got a new car and they
Uh-huh.
gave me the package with the Sirius.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The first station I put on, you pop up. I jumped up like, what? What?
Were
Mike,
you
I know his
driving?
voice
I hope you weren't
anywhere. You didn't
driving.
even have to say your name. I knew your voice. I was
I
like,
hope
wait
you
a
weren't
minute, that's Mike.
driving.
I
Were you
said,
driving, jumping up?
I, I was like, no, I know that voice. I said, I
Right.
grew up with that voice. That's Mike Shannon. So I had to
Yeah.
wait until you said your name. I was like,
Yeah.
so that's how I learned about Sirius
XM.
radio.
Okay. Yeah,
It was
yeah.
because I got a package with my new car at the
That's
time.
how a lot of people find me. That's
That
how a lot
that
of
was
people find me.
interesting, and I
Yeah.
loved it. And I think I actually reached out to you on Facebook because you said something about Facebook, and I reached out. I said, "Hey, Mike, I'm listening to you right now."
I remember. Yeah. You finding people that you haven't seen in a long time. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things I really like about social media.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
Exactly. So I want to ask you if
Yeah.
somebody's getting in the industry right now, is there anything that you would give them as far as, advice coming now into this newer industry of radio and satellite?
Because it's changed so much from when I started. All I can say, all I can tell people is what I did. You have to have a passion for it. I really had a passion for radio, and nothing was going to stop me from getting to where I wanted to go. Like nothing was going to stop me from getting on ILD, and nothing or nobody was going to stop me from getting to New York City because that was a major goal of mine. So I had a passion for it. So You just have to really want it. You have to really want it. You have to really work hard at it and be serious about it. You know, have fun with it, but be serious about it. Because, you know, a lot of times people think, oh, I want to be on the radio because they think it's glamorous and I want my friends to hear me and everything. And all that is cool. But if it's something that you really want to do and do well, you really gotta, you know, like I said, you gotta have a passion for it. You gotta study it and, you know, take it serious, but have fun with it. You know what I mean? I think that's the best advice that I can give people. Now, as far as, well, how do I get on Sirius? Or how do I get on this? How do I get on that? People ask me those questions too. And I tell people that, you know, everybody has a different, you know, a different story. They ask me, well, how did you get into radio? Well, I was in college and that college happened to have the best college radio station in the country, WRBB, and it was just the right time and it took off from there. That doesn't really exist like that now. So what I tell people, if you're not in a situation like that, we'll try to get on a community radio station or something, you know. And now in this day and age, with all sorts of gadgets and social media and things that you can do, you know, you got studios at home, you got a laptop, you can practice, you know what I mean, and do it that way. And so there's lots of different ways, you know, but you have to be passionate about it. You have to really want it. You can't be half-ass about it. You know, you can't be
Final
half-ass
answer,
about it.
you have to be passionate.
I have done a few little voice things here and there that I didn't put on my resume. And why I didn't do that was because I'm just trying to get a radio job, so to
Oh,
speak. You know, so I've done not much voice, but that's what I want to do more though. That's where my concentration is going to be
you
going
should.
forward.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised that's only
I
a
know.
few.
Well, you know,
You have an amazing voice.
I know, but you know the thing about it is, and I've taken voiceover classes and everything with some of the best,
I want to take
and
some myself.
but you know what it is with the voice, and one of the instructors told me, and this is a radio legend here in New York City, G. Keith Alexander, one of the best. And I took classes with him, and he told me something, and it made sense. He says, you know, a lot of times radio people are not successful in voiceover because, and when I say voiceover, I don't mean just like, you know, doing radio promos and things like that. You know, you hear these commercials on TV for, you know, Tylenol or things like that. And people, you know, we have these strong voices. We're on the radio and I'm Mike Shannon, Heart and Soul, blah, 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 blah. In voiceover, they don't want that. They want you to sound more natural. They want you to be more like, you know, take Tylenol so you can get to sleep tonight. Not take Tylenol so you can sleep tonight. You know what I mean? So he said, you got to learn to soften your voice a little bit. That's why a lot of radio guys sometimes don't make it, you know. So it was always like a tough nut to crack. And I was doing so well in radio. And I'm like, okay. But now that radio is changing and, you know, you realize like you know you got to keep rolling with something or get left behind because this whole game is changing. So you got to kind of change with it. You know what I mean? So that's the
Absolutely.
deal with that. So that's why I haven't up until now really gotten serious about it. But it's I will tell you, it's more competitive than radio. It is more competitive than radio, believe it or not. The voiceover, because there's a man, you listen to the radio, watch TV, you hear a million different voices, and you don't know who they are. You turn the radio on, you know who those voices are because they're in place. They're, you know, but there's thousands of people out there doing voice work, you know. So it's really it's very competitive, but you know, I love a challenge. You know what I mean? I love a challenge. So
And you know what? Knowing your voice, I think you could still do it. I'm sure you
yeah,
could.
people have told me, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
get in
would.
my own way sometimes, Jen. I'll
Yeah,
be the
don't do
first to admit
that.
that.
Don't do
Yeah,
that because I love
I've
your
done that.
voice.
Yeah,
I
I've
would
done
hear
that.
it soft. I would hear it loud. I would hear it rough. You got a great radio voice. And honestly, between you and Ray, I
Oh
would
yeah,
always
yeah.
say, what am I doing? I need to, and you know what? I used to work for City of Atlanta and we had this one particular class every Wednesday in which you said you took speech classes at Northeastern, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So we took this class every Wednesday for I think it was an hour, and they would count how many ums you would say, how many so's you
Oh
would
yeah,
say,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
time you. And my last class I did really well. I walked away with three ums and I think two so's. But for me that was important because I love public speaking. I would
Yeah.
put on a lot of events, and so I love public speaking. And that's kind of how this podcast came about. They was like, Jen, you should do radio, you should do a podcast. And so, it kind of pushed me, even though I was thinking about it on my own I think
Right.
hearing somebody else, just like you said, sometimes people see things in you you don't see in yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they kind of pushed me. So here
Yeah.
I am today. I love it, but I still want to invest in taking some speech classes so I could perfect my voice and how to carry it, how to,
Well, you sound great doing it. It sounds like you've
thank
been doing it
you.
for a long time.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
appreciate that. Love
yeah, yeah, oh,
it.
yeah. I mean,
Love it.
you,
Love it.
I guess you soaked up all that stuff that we've been putting out there
I
because,
absolutely did. I absolutely did. I received all of that.
yeah, yeah. No, you're doing a great job. Great job. A
So
great job.
I know that, you, when you left Boston,
Yeah.
did you go directly to New York or did you go somewhere else?
I went to Detroit, Michigan for 3 years. I
Wow, I
went to
didn't
the
even know
D.
that.
Yeah, that's when I left WILD. I went to Detroit. I was wanting to go straight to New York, but New York wasn't. I'm not gonna say I wasn't ready for New York. I'm not gonna say New York wasn't ready for me yet. I wasn't quite ready for New York. I thought I was ready, but PDs know best. You know what I
But you've
mean?
been there for years now, and
Oh
New
yeah.
York, are they ready for you?
Well, at this point, I don't know. Yeah, I eventually got there. And I don't know if you remember, a lot of people who go as far back to RBB with me, they'll know. Anybody who knows, they'll tell you the one place Mike Shannon wanted to be was New York City. He wanted to be on the radio in New York City.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that was my goal. And, not that nobody said I wouldn't do it, but you got a few haters, and yeah, right. You're gonna do that, and yeah, I am. Watch, you know what I mean. So that's what really
Exactly.
motivated me, and I
Watch
just
my
made
smoke.
sure. I made sure I got on, and I got on the station I wanted to get on,
Oh,
98.7
love
Kiss FM.
it.
Yeah,
Love it. Love it.
it stayed there for 18 years until the station shut down. I imagine if the
Is that
station
what
would,
happened?
yeah, and if it was still in existence, I'd probably still be on it.
What was
You
that?
know,
Was that, excuse me, don't cuss me out. Was it Kiss?
98.7 Kiss. Yeah, Kiss
Wow.
FM.
Look at my memory.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
See, I followed you, Mike. I did. I did. That was my boy.
yeah.
When you have a good radio personality, you're going to follow through all the way. And for me, you kind of set the tone for me for what a radio personality should be and
Oh,
what
I
they should
appreciate that.
sound like
I
because you're very
appreciate that.
personable. You made everybody feel so welcome when they came to the station. And again, that's probably why I was there all the time, whether I had a new
Yeah.
record coming out or not. It was because you always made us feel so good. You always had us laughing. And if you
Yeah.
guys don't know, he could be a comedian on the side because he's hilarious. So I appreciate everything about you,
Yeah.
and I will continue following you.
Oh, I
So
appreciate that. Yeah, my show was the hangout at WILD
it
in the
sure
early
was.
days. The kids would come up after school and want to sit in the studio, and I'm like,
Look
okay.
at you, got me crying. Even when Arthur used to come in there too. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
Arthur and I used to fight, but we're cool now.
I can see it. I can see it. That's
We're cool.
hilarious. Well, I
Yeah.
want to ask you really quickly. I know that
Uh-huh.
that transition, just like you said, you went from Boston to Detroit and then
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah.
So, what did you gain and what did you lose throughout the transitions?
Well, I don't think I lost anything.
That's good.
Yeah, I didn't lose anything. I mean, well, in Detroit, I lost a job, but I was ready to lose that job because I
It was
wanted to come to New
cold.
York.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your mind was set on New York.
Yeah, I mean, everything was per. That saying, God, the Lord helps those who help themselves. I think that's a true saying, because God knows I worked hard to get to New York City, and every step along the way, He made sure that I was making the right moves to get there. And then when I finally got here, He made sure I stayed on this radio station for 18 years. So I don't look at anything as a loss. You know what I mean? Like I left ILD, I went to Detroit for 3 years, and after 3 years, my program director and I clashed. It had nothing to do with my performance. My ratings were sky high and everything, but sometimes egos clash and, this, that, and the other. It happens. That's the industry. But it was 3 years and I was ready to come home and it all worked out perfectly. I came back to Boston, as a matter of fact, just for a year between Detroit and New York. And then in July of 94, I came down here to New York and I've been here ever since.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Part two.
So we got interrupted, but that's okay.
Hey,
One more get outside your
technology in
show.
2026.
Is there any particular artist that you may have interviewed that
Uh-huh.
may have changed your taste or your ear for music?
For their music in particular, or for music like
Music generally.
turn me against them, or just
No, no, no.
oh
Change your
oh oh
taste
okay.
in saying, oh, you know what? I might actually, say for instance, I only grew up on hip hop and
Oh, I see
an
what you
artist
mean.
came in and now I like neo soul.
Well, no, and the reason why I say no is because I've always liked all kinds of music anyway. So I haven't interviewed anybody that has like I say I like jazz. So let's say if I interviewed a jazz artist, I've interviewed Najee. I already like Najee. So it actually kind
Mhm.
of just made me like Najee's music more. So if anything, it
Yes,
kind of made me like them more. You know what I mean? Because there's never
absolutely.
been a genre. Because I like all kinds of music. I mean, of course, we're black, so R&B, soul, that's gonna be the first thing. But I mean,
Exactly.
there's rock songs that I grew up on, especially back when I was growing up in the 70s. Now, there were a lot of
I
good
swear, we were
rock songs, and
watching
yeah,
like a YouTube special, and I was like, I remember
yeah,
that. And somebody said, you used to listen to that music? I said, yeah, we listened to everything, pop, rock,
right,
anything
right,
in Boston.
right.
So,
That's the one good. Yes, yes. So,
it's interesting because I know, and I spoke to another radio personality. You guys generally get the first music, so you guys get to hear it first. Are you
yeah.
or have you ever heard an artist's music, new music that you said, you know what, this is really going to make a difference in this industry, or this is going to be a hit?
Oh, I've done that plenty of times. Now, as far as like a hit, Jasmine Sullivan, she came out with
Mm.
that song, the one that has Ready or Not, the group of Ready or Not. What was that song that she had? Let It Burn.
Oh,
Let It
that
Burn.
song is everything.
That
I
is my
love that
song by
song
her.
when I heard it. It felt oh my God, yeah, that
Yeah.
I really love that one.
And I interviewed her when that album was about to come out. I think the first single prior to that had been out. And I told her, I said, I like Let It Burn. I said, you need to put that one out. She was like, really? You think so? I said, put that song out. And she put it out and it became a hit. Same thing with Jaheim's Just in Case back in the day.
Oh yes,
I
yes.
didn't I didn't interview him at the time, but I think I was telling people, I said, now that's a single right there. I don't know why. I mean, I liked the first one was Could It Be? I think it was Could It Be? All of his jams on that album were hot, but I'm like, that's the single right there. They need to put that one out. And then like maybe, I don't know, a few weeks later, a couple of months later, whatever, the song was out. So I got a good ear for music like that in that respect, you
Well,
know.
you know what? To be very honest with you, and I think that I would automatically take to your answer or your feedback because you play the music, so you know what's gonna hit. You know what's gonna, tap the audience. So for me, if you
Yeah.
used to tell me that, I'd be at my record company like, hey, we need to change. We need to
Well,
put
that's
this out
good.
because you guys play the music. You know what
Right,
attracts the
right.
audience.
Right, right. And there's an artist that's out now named Lavelle that we play. He's from Kansas City. We play him on Heart and Soul. And he
Okay.
always hits me up like, Mike, he sent me 3 songs. Mike, what do you think I should pick for my next single?
I
So, because
love that.
he knows. Now, he didn't pick any of them, but he did tell me when I interviewed him, he said, no, I still got those and they're still there. We're going to use one of them. But at
No, but
least
that
he
makes a
reached out.
difference.
Right,
That makes a
right.
big difference
Yeah,
for us
yeah,
because we do well, we as the audience, I'm going to step on the other side. We as the audience rely on the DJs to give us the best new music. And honestly speaking, if I'm listening, and for me, it makes a difference. I don't listen to FM radio anymore. I listen only to satellite because I feel like
yeah.
I hear the newer music on
You do.
satellite.
You do. You hear music on satellite that you won't hear. Most of it you
Exactly.
won't hear on quote unquote, well, it's terrestrial radio, but we call it regular radio. Yeah, because Sirius XM, the whole satellite thing, we're not bought and sold like some of those other.
Oh my, what was that? Payola?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that those other stations are engaging in payola, but it is sort of it's a business. I mean, record
No,
reps
it
come up,
is.
they come up to the station. I mean, I remember this at ILD, because we got very close to the record reps. They would come up on Tuesday. Tuesday was music day. And you come up, you have a meeting with the program director, you take them to lunch, you do da 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 da, you hopefully get your song on. So it's that type of thing. We don't really necessarily have that at SiriusXM. I mean, they can try to come up and take the PD out to lunch and stuff, but we're more or less, we don't really live and die by the ratings, so to speak, like those terrestrial radio stations do. We do get rated, but it's a different type of thing. It's not
I
really
kind of
all that pressure, so
I
we can
kind of
say,
feel like FM, they repeat the songs over and over again. I'm like, I know there got to be some more songs out here.
well, to be keep it 100, because I always did. We tend to do that on satellite too now,
But I feel like I hear,
but it's better
like I
music.
said, new
It's better
music.
music. Yes,
So
it's better
you guys
music.
give more of an opportunity for us to hear
Right.
something different.
Yes, yes, yes. That's the key right there. The difference.
And honestly, my husband used to always say to me, "Where'd you learn about this artist?" I'm like, "Serious, the Sirius station." I said, "I
Right, right.
always find new music through you guys."
That's the spot for the new music. Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is.
So I mean, and let's shift gears. Let's talk
Mhm.
about AI music. How do you feel about AI music?
I hate AI music.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody had the nerve to inbox me the other day. I didn't even reply because I didn't want to be nasty about it or be, and I didn't want to speak for my bosses at SiriusXM either, because I don't like to speak for anybody. But they was like, I got this AI thing and I want to know if y'all interested, da, 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 da. I'm paraphrasing. I didn't even bother. I don't know if I might have deleted it. Because I'm like, listen, we're into real folks here making music. Why should we play a song by an AI artist when we got real singers out here that are struggling,
Thank you.
that can
That's
really
my point.
that
Now,
are good? And I can't interview an AI artist, but I can interview a human.
so that's my perspective as well, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm not against it 100%, but say for instance, if you needed somebody to do jingles and you want to use AI, okay, that
Well,
might be
that's
easier
cool.
for you guys. You know what I'm
Even
saying?
though that takes a voice away from a human, but I
It
get
does,
it.
but
Right.
say for instance,
In a pinch, you might need it or something. Right.
no,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really think about it because you just told me that it's actually in higher demand for the voiceovers, correct?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the concerns that if you can use the AI voice for stuff, then what am I needed for? You know what I
And
mean?
that's my point.
Right,
I
right.
don't, because for me, I like live
Yeah.
performances.
Yes.
So if we have all these AI generated songs, in which there are some good ones out right now, like
Yes.
God Don't Play About Me, that's an AI generated
Yeah.
song. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I love it, and I'm so mad that I love it. And I'm
Right,
like,
right, right.
but
Right.
who am I going to see perform that? You know what I'm saying? I
Exactly.
don't like that.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
want to follow the artist. I want to watch them grow in their performances.
Right.
I want to see the whole journey for artists. And
Exactly.
that's what AI is taking away from real
Exactly.
artistry.
Exactly.
So that's my personal opinion. I'm
Yeah.
not knocking it for certain things, certain,
Certain things AI is
yes.
good for. Yes, certain things. But for something like that, I mean, it doesn't make any damn sense. You got humans that know how to sing.
And there's
Why?
so many that are being missed, just like you
Exactly.
said. There's so many. And one of the things that, and you watch the episode with Faja,
Yeah.
if you're
My
trying to
girl.
break into the industry, go to live music venues and
Yes.
try to get on
Yes.
stage, try to interact and try to see if you
Yes.
can get on, because a lot of times I don't even want to say this artist's name. I was so disappointed. I wanted to cry because I followed this artist for years. I
Mm,
had so many CDs, and he performed here in Atlanta, and I went and got a ticket and took my friends, and it was outside Summerfest.
mm.
When this dude could not sing a lick, real life,
Wow.
in real life, he sounded horrible. It wasn't one song, it wasn't two songs, because sometimes the
Right.
sounds are not bouncing correctly and you can't hear
Right.
yourself. No, it was the entire show. I
Okay.
was so mad. I was like, I will never buy another piece of his music
I'm
because
going
I felt
fishing
like
now for
everything
information.
was recording studio. You
Yeah.
twisting things here and there, and you. I was like, oh, that was such a disappointment. So that's why I'm saying I
Now, was this artist a newer artist, or have they been around for a minute?
no, it was an old school artist, and he was a solo artist, and the girls loved him, and
Oh,
I
okay.
can't even tell you, you would be so
Because I'm
hurt.
trying to think of names without starting trouble. But
No, you would be so hurt, Mike. You would be so hurt because he got lots of his music played, and I was a big
Mm,
fan. But
wow.
he broke my heart when I went to
Yeah.
that performance, and not one song was in key. Not
Wow.
one song. And he was performing like he was you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, no, sir, you're not. Actually, you need a diaper and some wipes.
Exactly.
This is
Mm,
horrible. So for me, I
that is
do
funny.
like a live performance. I will go
Yeah.
to a live concert any day, and for me, How do you feel about October London? That dude is amazing.
Oh, he's one of our A-list artists at Heart and Soul.
Oh,
Yeah.
honey, let him
And
come
very
back.
cool dude too. Very cool dude.
I'm
Good
sure he
people.
is.
Yeah.
I've been trying to catch him every time he's come to Atlanta. I'm either out of town or I got something else that I'm doing. And I'm like, I
Oh
gotta
yeah.
catch this guy because
Yeah.
how did I hear about him? I came to Boston and one of my friends let me hear him. And I downloaded the whole album, came home and I put it on repeat. And I was like,
Uh,
my God, this is what I'm talking about. This is what
yeah.
I'm talking about. We need more of those. And
Yeah. Yeah.
watching him through his journey, he's gone through a few albums, not my faves. I'm not saying they weren't good, they just weren't my
Right.
faves. He
Right.
hit it on the mark with this album. This
Mm.
album right here, there was not one song that I did not like.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
this boy is amazing. This man
Yeah.
is amazing. So
Yeah.
yes, AI replacing that, I
Nope.
can't, I
You can't
can't
get emotion
receive
from
it.
AI. You can try to get emotion from AI. You can hit a
Yeah.
button that says more, whatever here, but not like a human can. Come on now.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
crazy.
even for musicians, we're
Yeah.
speaking on the artist as a singer,
Oh
even for the
man.
musicians, like my husband's a musician, he struggles with it. And,
Yeah, because
I
live
guess,
music, bands, baby, getting us with the
yes,
bands and the yeah, not the computers
yes.
and the come on now, yeah,
Now, I can
yeah,
see it if you're trying to record something in your home studio and you need the full band situation.
right,
You can't get your
right,
bandmates,
right,
then I can see
right,
that. But
right.
not to make an album, not to,
No,
it
no,
takes away from everything. And,
it sure
for
does.
us real music heads that really love real good music, let's reel that back in. Speaking on, how did you learn what was real good music, Mike? Who taught you what good music was?
Well, I learned good music from I learned what was good music from I don't want this to sound like I'm dissing any of these artists from today because there are some very
No,
talented
no,
people that are
no.
doing some good work today. But in general, comparing some of the music from today to some of
Oh,
the music from back in the day, and I'm like,
yes.
okay, that was some good music that we were growing up to, but we
Abs-
took it for granted. And what I mean by that is because there was nothing bad to compare it to. So it was just the music that was out there, like James Brown, and you go back Shaka Khan and all them, and Stephanie
All of
Mills
them.
and Diana Ross and all them, and even
Denise
like
Williams.
yes, going into
Oh,
like the '80s with people like I want to say, even groups like Troop and
oh
some of those
yes.
people
Ready
back
for the
then.
World.
Right.
We had so
That was
many.
still good music. That was still good music. That
I,
was,
I I can't agree with you anymore because this music right now, I there's not anybody that I would buy their entire album. I might download a song,
yeah, yeah,
but not an entire album. And
yeah.
most groups back then, you like the entire
The
album.
whole album. You put the
So
whole album on
yeah,
and just let it
we talk
play.
about that often, and it's a little discouraging for the newer artists
It
because
is.
when I say, unless they're an old soul and they grew up with their grandparents and they
Right.
listen to their parents' music, they don't know what real music is.
They don't. They don't. And they think what they hear these days is real music. And some of it is, but not enough of it
Fun,
is. Not enough of it is.
not enough.
Not enough of it. And the stuff that seems to get the most exposure is the garbage, it seems like.
Yeah, and
You
and
know?
we're just talking about music. We're not even going into different genres. So,
Oh,
so we're
right,
going to
right.
talk
Forget it.
about rap.
Oh man.
Throw it out the window.
Garbage, 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 garbage. You think
Out
R
the
people
window.
think R&B is bad these days, and there are some bad moments in R&B these days, but not like hip hop. I mean, the only person in hip hop that I can think of that I really would listen to right now is Kendrick Lamar. I mean, I
Who?
do like Kendrick Lamar. I do like some of Kendrick
Oh yeah,
Lamar's stuff.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, but I won't listen to a whole album by him because I'm just not never really been a hip hop head. But
yeah,
you go back to the '90s, I could tell you a lot of artists that I would listen to
exactly,
back in those days. The whole Bad
exactly.
Boy thing.
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes and
It
them.
was a lot. We had so
Yeah.
much to listen to. It was like
Yes.
we were never, or we were full because it was so
Yes.
much.
Right.
And
Right.
now it's like I feel like I'm starving to hear some
Yeah.
real new artistry, new music, new hip. And
And some creativity. I mean,
yes,
some
because I
some
don't want to see
lyrics.
duplicates. I don't
Right.
want to see replicas.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everything is the same. Half naked on stage,
that part.
swearing, mumbling.
Okay, so the
No
swearing has gotten
showmanship.
out of hand. The swearing has gotten completely out of hand. The vulgar, it's completely out of hand. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
I want to get in the car, and yeah, you may not like hip hop, but if I put this in the car and my father's in the car and he's hearing all these swears in between, I got to turn it off.
Yeah.
It feels disrespectful.
Let me tell you
You know
something,
what I'm
Jen.
saying?
Back in the day, okay, when I was coming up, we listened to the same music our parents listened to. There was no differentiation in those days. My parents liked Last Night in the Pips. I like Last Night in the Pips. My parents liked the Temptations. I like the Temptations. My parents like,
Absolutely.
whatever. We all listened to the same music. Now, of course, you had the Jackson 5, which was younger ended for the kids, but my parents liked the Jackson 5 too. But
Yeah.
now you don't have parents and children. Now you got parental stickers. So you got to watch what your kids are listening to.
Yeah.
Parents aren't into the hip hop that's playing today. The parents aren't into the kids' music nowadays, and that's kind of sad, because we were all listening to the same music. It doesn't matter what generation. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
all were listening to the same thing. We could all sit around the TV every weekend and watch Soul Train together and
And
enjoy
wasn't that
everything.
the time
You know
Soul
what I'm saying?
Train would make
Yes,
everybody sit in the house and watch
yes.
who's performing next?
Right. And you didn't have to worry about words getting bleeped out and your parents saying,
No,
"What the hell? I don't want you watching this
no,
no more," and all that kind of
no.
yeah.
And
What
see,
the
I
hell?
think that's what they're missing. The
Yeah.
generation today, they're missing all of that, the history
Yeah.
behind it. I actually
Yep.
seen a post, and I was telling somebody the other day, I seen a post in which Smokey Robinson was on there, and I went into the comments because I had my own personal thoughts about that image. But
Mm.
when I went into the comments, I could not believe how many people said, "Who is this?"
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. These young folks
You
don't
don't
know
know
their
who
history.
Smokey Robinson is?
They don't
And
know
then,
their history.
I'm not trying to age us to the point where, you guys are just old and you guys just don't
No,
know.
right. It's not that. It's
It
not that
isn't
at
that.
all. It's not
It
that at
isn't
all.
that. And if I think about it, if the record companies in the record industry was the same as they used to be back then, half of these people really wouldn't have any record deals.
Thank you. Thank you.
They wouldn't
Thank
have record
you.
deals. I
Say it
think a
again for the
lot of
people
this
in the
is
back. Yes.
independent records. I
Yes.
think it's
Yes.
making it at home and you're
Yep.
selling it out your trunk. Not saying
Yep.
that's a bad way because if you're
Nope.
hungry, just like you said, you're going to push your music, but
It has to be good. Make it good.
save me.
If you're gonna
Save
push it,
me,
make it good.
please.
Yes.
I cannot hear another mumble jumble. I don't know what's coming out of your mouth rap.
Yeah, yeah. And then, these rap beefs nowadays, back in the day, I think it was LL Cool J and somebody was beefing, but it was a fun beef. You had,
Yes, they didn't go to the point that they're going now.
exactly, exactly. It's just
So
it's just
the
ridiculous.
industry has completely changed,
It
but
is, it is.
what I will say is that there's still us that could still show them what real music is.
That's what I'm saying. That's why, like, don't be so quick to push us out the pasture, okay? You still need
Exactly.
us. All right.
So if you ever might come to
Yep.
Atlanta, so I
I know I have
bartend
to get there.
part-time, and there is this music venue that I've been working at for years, primarily because of the music. I love
Yeah.
music. So anything that involves music, I want to be part of it. So
Right.
I've been working at this amphitheater called Mabel House, and when I tell you,
Oh, I talk about that all the time.
we
Um,
have all the shows, all the
So
old
you work
school
there, Maple
shows.
Bond, and that's in
Mableton, Georgia.
Maple. I talk about that all the time because when artists are, I talk about, well, so and so's going to be in
Oh
Mapleton,
yeah,
Georgia
I've
tonight at
heard
the
you.
yeah,
I've
yeah,
heard
yeah.
you.
Okay, so you work there. All
I've been
right.
here for 8 years and I don't plan on leaving because for me, I make money, but I get free concerts. I get to interact
Oh
with so many
yeah,
people
yeah.
that really love real music.
Right, right. Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's such a good time. And when I
yeah,
tell you, even some of the artists have known me from being there,
yeah, yeah.
and they're like, is Jen the bartender up there? Tell Jen to make my drink. So, it's a good time. So if you
Yeah.
ever make your way here to
Oh,
Atlanta,
I definitely
please
will,
let
especially
me
now that
know.
I know you work there. I
Oh,
talk
you
about
will
that place
have
all
an
the time.
amazing time. Amazing. When I tell you my sister-in-law, she finally came. I've been pushing her for the last couple of years. You need to come
Mm,
down because she likes, hip hop.
yeah.
She's a few years younger than me, so she likes old school hip hop.
Okay.
So I kept telling her because we have the old school hip hop, the South and the North. They come
Mm,
the same weekend but different days, right? And I
okay.
tell you, sold out concert in the last show that we had for the season finale was Method Man, and they didn't let people know until the last minute.
Wow.
Whoa, when I tell you
Lost their
Atlanta
minds,
showed
huh?
up and showed out.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm talking about. Real music. We still have
right.
it, but in
We
certain
do.
places. It's not
Right.
everywhere.
Right.
But,
Right.
music still lives on with me, and it
Oh yeah.
always will.
It
So
always will, yeah.
I'm going to ask you. So
Yeah.
if you had a soundtrack to your journey,
Yeah.
what would your song be?
The soundtrack, the journey that describes me more.
Yes.
I thought about this because you asked Faja this question.
I ask
You know
everybody. That's
me.
my signature
I
question.
You know me. I think Fight the Damn Power would be my the Isley Brothers and Public Enemy.
Listen,
that'd be one of my theme songs, okay?
I love that. And you
Yeah,
know
Fight
what?
the
You need
Power.
to play it. The next time you get back on, you need to
I
play
wish I
that.
could.
Oh, they won't let you play that.
Well, that's not my format because see, Fight the
Oh,
Power was
that's true.
classic hip
That's
hop. You know, we
true.
we do
Yes.
R&B from today and back in the day on Heart and Soul, and yeah, but that I think Fight the Power. You know,
That is,
especially that part when the Isley Brothers go. I try to play my music. They say my music's too loud. I'm always playing my music loud.
that's right. That's right. See,
I
even
play
when I
my
ride in
music
my car,
loud.
I gotta play my music loud. So you
That's
keep
right.
on putting those jams inside the station for me so I can ride with my windows down because it's
I
warming up
sure
out
will.
here.
I sure will. I sure
Mike,
will.
you have been amazing. Thank you for sharing your
Oh, this was
backstory,
fun.
your
This was
new
fun.
story. And
Yeah.
do
Story
we have
still to be
anything
told.
to say it again?
Story still to be told. It's still in
I know.
progress.
I was getting ready to say, do you have anything that you want to share? Anything new that's getting ready to happen that we should be looking out for?
No, not at this moment, but just keep
Okay.
your ears open.
Oh,
You
I
know, man,
definitely will.
just keep your ears open because I do, like I said, I do want to plan to do more voice work. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to hear me on a commercial on TV. Maybe you never know.
Maybe I'm
You
going to be
might say,
looking for
"Oh, I
that.
know that voice. That's got to be Mike
That's
Shannon. That's
right.
got to be Mike Shannon." So
I
this voice
know
will
that's
still be
right.
on the radio somewhere, and you'll hear this voice. I don't plan on retiring anytime soon. I really enjoy what I do. You know,
I
so
could tell. It
yeah,
definitely shows in your work, and you have such loyal fans, and
I
that's because of
appreciate
your
that.
bubbly personal aura. You have such great energy over the radio, and you could feel it.
I appreciate that.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being you.
Oh well, thank you. Thank you
And
for
Mike,
being you.
thank you so much for helping me open up this episode with such a beautiful episode, speaking on your background and sharing with the people how they could break into the industry and talking the truth, telling the
Yeah.
truth.
Oh, you know,
That's
hey,
what we
listen.
need.
That
I
hey,
know you will.
I always, as people say, if you want the truth, ask Mike Shannon.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right. He ain't never lied.
For
Mike,
real.
I love you. Thank
Love
you
you too, Jen.
again.
My pleasure. Take
And we'll
care.
speak to you again soon.
All right. All right.